I never imagined that in the midst of my relentless quest for longevity and well-being, I would end up experiencing something as impactful as what I am about to relate. My name is Miriam Caldwell, a woman who has always sought in Buddhist wisdom and ancient Buddhist secrets the answers for a life of balance, skin rejuvenation, and increased energy. In my unceasing journey of well-being, immersed in self-care routines, meditation, and health tips that included natural remedies and superfoods, I never thought I would need such a profound lesson about spiritual health and the holistic healing of the soul. It was during a moment of mental clarity, the result of a morning routine dedicated to mindfulness and natural detoxification, that my spirit was suddenly struck by an unexpected passage. At first, when I felt my body disconnecting from reality, I believed I was being led to a place of light, where the ancient wisdom and the herbal remedies I had always valued would finally make complete sense. However, the landscape changed abruptly. I found myself plummeting toward a dense abyss filled with shadows that seemed to echo the voices of women who, like me, had sought natural healing but had forgotten the essence of spiritual cure. What was meant to be a portal to rejuvenation and life extension transformed into a vertiginous fall into a suffocating environment where even the secrets of youth and traditional medicine seemed useless in the face of an absence of inner peace. There, a detox of the soul was urgent, for what once appeared to be merely a healthy lifestyle revealed itself to be an unfinished journey toward true self-improvement and the detoxification of body and mind. It was in that scenario, amid visions of faces marred by compromised healthy aging and the lack of holistic health, that I realized all the longevity tips are futile if the soul remains intoxicated by worldly illusions. As my consciousness adjusted to that heavy atmosphere, I began to notice details I could have never imagined even in the deepest teachings of Buddhist wisdom or in the traditional medicine practices I had always admired. The dense shadows gradually dissipated, revealing figures that sent shivers down my spine. Preachers and spiritual leaders who in life had seemed to be guardians of spiritual healing and holistic health, but who now lay there amidst laments and expressions of deep remorse. The shock grew when I recognized familiar faces, people I had personally invited to well-being events, where we exalted Buddhist secrets, herbal medicine, natural remedies, and self-care practices that promised a journey of rejuvenation and life extension. However, I realized that many of them, although they promoted health tips and a healthy lifestyle, were consumed by corrosive vanity, more interested in human applause than in true health transformation, the kind that begins in the very essence of the soul. Their messages about mindfulness, detox, and healthy aging sounded, in the light of that spiritual vision, like an empty echo, lacking the authenticity required by true holistic healing. The mental clarity I had sought for years, among superfoods and herbal remedies, revealed itself not merely as an exercise in physical well-being, but as a cry for internal purification and traditional remedies for the soul. It was there that I understood that true self-improvement is not limited to a nightly self-care routine or the disciplined use of vitamins and natural remedies, but to a genuine surrender that transcends the limits of the skin and body and reaches the core of spiritual health. It was in that moment, facing that disturbing scene, that the most painful revelation struck like a dagger into the very depths of my soul. I realized, with devastating clarity, that for years I had been more concerned with the appearance of my faith than with its true essence. While I promoted lectures on self-care, youth secrets, and longevity tips, seeking to inspire other women to adopt a healthy lifestyle, I myself neglected spiritual healing and the detoxification of my soul. The Buddhist secrets I so often mentioned, the herbal medicine I exalted, and even the morning mindfulness routines I so ardently recommended had all become glossy showcases for a heart that, in silence, cried out for profound transformation. The pursuit of skin rejuvenation and healthy aging, while legitimate as part of alternative medicine and skincare, had diverted me into an obsession with human recognition. I wanted to be seen as an example of well-being and holistic health, but deep down, I lacked the mental clarity to see that the true journey of well-being begins with the self-improvement of the soul, with the detox of the body and mind from everything that corrupts pure intention. The self-care routines and natural remedies I defended served as a facade to hide a deep unease, a void that not even the best superfoods or vitamins could fill. There, in the presence of eternity, I understood that without complete surrender to the holistic healing of the soul, everything else was nothing more than a palliative. No ancient secret, no traditional medicine, nor any herbal remedy could substitute for the urgent need for spiritual reconciliation and inner purification. If I thought I had already been deeply confronted, I discovered that it was only the beginning of the most painful, and paradoxically, the most liberating journey of my existence. In that charged atmosphere, I was suddenly engulfed by an invisible force that dragged me into a review of my own life, something so vivid and intense that it transcended any meditation or mindfulness practice I had ever experienced. They were not merely images flickering before my eyes like in an old movie, but feelings etched into every fiber of my being, mercilessly revealing the intentions behind every action I had taken. The well-being campaigns, the meetings about herbal medicine and self-care, the advice on natural remedies and longevity tips that I had shared so fervently, all of them now came with a weight that crushed me, revealing the hidden motivations that, until then, I had refused to acknowledge. The Buddhist wisdom I so valued taught about the balance between body and spirit, yet I had prioritized the external, forgetting that the true extension of life begins with the purity of the soul. It was impossible not to feel a deep bitterness upon realizing that while I devoted myself to nightly self-care routines and promoting the benefits of alternative medicine, I allowed silent vanities to contaminate my spiritual surrender. The detox I so often preached was superficial, focused solely on the detoxification of the body, ignoring the urgent need for a detox of the soul. My healthy lifestyle was incomplete. It lacked the essential component of spiritual health and inner natural healing. There, I understood with painful mental clarity that the pursuit of skin, rejuvenation, and youth secrets should go hand in hand with genuine self-improvement, with the transformation of holistic health and the abandonment of all pride disguised as virtue. Every step I had taken toward increased energy and holistic health seemed empty without the nourishment of authentic faith, a true surrender to the process of holistic healing that transcends traditional medicine and herbal remedies. In that moment, I was forced to face the fact that the true journey of well-being is spiritual. It is a silent and sincere road toward the deep detoxification of the soul, a journey for which no superfood or vitamin can suffice, only the transformative grace of spiritual healing. After the intense life review left me virtually stripped of any justification, I was suddenly enveloped by an atmosphere even more laden with meaning, as if eternity itself wanted to whisper, or rather shout, non-negotiable truths into my spirit. I saw, with spiritual eyes sharper than ever, visions of a future I would never forget. It was as though ancient wisdom, the very wisdom I had so often extolled in my lectures on traditional medicine, Buddhist wisdom, and self-care, was now showing me the hidden side of existence, a side that we so often ignore in our healthy lifestyle routines. Churches packed with people, yet paradoxically empty of God's true presence, formed a devastating scene. It was as if the health tips for the spirit had been replaced by an empty spectacle, where the pursuit of skin rejuvenation and increased energy had taken the place of profound spiritual healing and the mental clarity provided by genuine surrender. Spiritual leaders whom I had once admired for their so-called longevity tips and health transformation messages were now focused on ephemeral emotions, on passing stimuli that fed vanity but left the soul starving. I then realized that all the skincare, herbal remedies, superfoods, and even the natural detox practices we promote, though important for well-being and healthy aging, could never substitute for the vital need for a deep connection with the divine. I felt a cutting, undeniable call, a direct command that pierced my soul. Alert the people. Speak fearlessly, for time is running out. It was no longer about maintaining a nightly self-care routine or following health tips to extend our earthly lives. It was now about a transformation of holistic health that includes spirit, soul, and body in perfect harmony. With each vision that was revealed to me, one certainty grew stronger: that all the ancient secrets supporting alternative medicine and traditional remedies, as valuable as they are for our holistic health, must go hand in hand with the sincere practice of spiritual healing. There is no point in talking about detoxification of the body if we forget the urgent need for a deep detox of the soul. There, in the pulsating presence of eternity, I understood that the true journey of well-being is not only about visible self-care and self-improvement, but about a genuine commitment to spiritual health, a commitment that leads to complete transformation, capable of ensuring a longevity that goes beyond earthly life, a longevity eternal, in the redemptive embrace of God. Upon awakening from that deep plunge into the invisible, My perception of health and well-being was completely reconfigured. It was no longer enough to recommend natural remedies or defend herbal medicine as pillars of a well-being journey. I understood that true transformation requires more than that. It demands total surrender, a purification of the soul as urgent as the body's detox that I had always emphasized. I returned to my daily routine, but nothing remained intact. My former obsession with a morning routine full of youth secrets, longevity tips, and self-care gave way to an insatiable search for genuine intimacy with God. What once was an almost mechanical mindfulness practice became a living discipline of deep meditation, aimed not only at mental clarity, but at complete holistic healing, aligning my spiritual health with the highest purpose of my existence. I finally understood that all the Buddhist secrets I so admired, the ancient wisdom preserved by Buddhist monks about longevity and rejuvenation, always pointed to a greater principle: the integral balance between body, mind, and spirit. For that reason, I made radical decisions. I abandoned social networks that fed my silent vanity, cleared an agenda once, filled with commitments aimed more at external recognition than at true inner health transformation. From then on, I decided that my life would be a living reflection of what I preached, incorporating skincare, herbal remedies, and superfoods as complementary tools, but never as the central focus of my existence. I came to understand that the well-being journey I so often promoted was incomplete without true repentance, that spiritual remedy capable of healing wounds that alternative medicine would never reach. I then became a silent messenger, living my faith with authenticity even before uttering it in words. My transformation was so profound that even my vital energy was renewed, as if an inner rejuvenation, a spiritual detox, had taken place in every cell of my being. The nightly self-care routines, which once were motivated by the desire to maintain healthy aging, became moments of deep connection with the divine, allowing me to drink from the inexhaustible source of Buddhist wisdom and traditional medicine to sustain my journey of natural healing and holistic health. With each step I took along that new path, I felt my spirit strengthen, as if I were finally aligned with the most valuable health tips I could ever have shared. Those that, coming directly from the Creator, point to a life extension that transcends the limits of time and matter. The transformation I began to experience was not confined to my inner self. It was as if ancient wisdom, which I had always cherished in my self-care practices and herbal medicine, was urging me to radiate that renewal beyond myself. While attending a conference on holistic health and well-being, where I would once have enthusiastically spoken about youth secrets, natural remedies, and longevity tips, I chose an entirely different path. I decided to open my heart and testify about my profound near-death experience. I felt that it was time to abandon the rehearsed speeches about skin rejuvenation and increased energy, and to dive into a living narrative about the true spiritual healing that had transformed my existence. The atmosphere, initially filled with a traditional expectation of health tips and alternative medicine recipes, quickly turned into an altar of brokenness. Spiritual leaders, many of whom were used to teaching about body detox, superfoods, and miraculous vitamins, found themselves confronted with the urgent need for a detoxification of the soul. I saw tears streaming down faces that once boasted the confidence of well-cared-for skin, fruits of impeccable nightly self-care routines. But there, the focus shifted from healthy aging to the youth of the spirit, youth that is only achieved by genuine surrender to the self-improvement of the soul and to the transformation of holistic health that unites traditional medicine and spiritual healing. The teachings of Buddhist monks on mindfulness and mental clarity resounded anew in the space, as if, for the first time, everyone understood that Buddhist secrets and herbal medicine are only complementary paths in the grand journey of well-being, which must include spiritual health as an unbreakable foundation. My testimony touched those lives so deeply that the conference became a true laboratory of transformation. People began to confess hidden vanities, emotional addictions, and an unbridled pursuit of human recognition. It was as if everyone there finally understood that, without a true connection to Buddhist wisdom and the natural healing practices that transcend the physical, there would be no life extension worth having. I left that place with the unshakable conviction that my mission was clear: to unite alternative medicine, traditional remedies, and skincare with a profound spiritual message, one capable of restoring not only organic health, but also the health of the soul, guiding each person on an authentic journey of body detox and mental clarity toward complete and eternal rejuvenation. As I concluded my journey of transformation, I felt that something still pulsed deep in my chest, a nearly unbearable urgency, as if every cell in my body were crying out for me to leave one final message, not only for those present at the conference, but for everyone still asleep, hypnotized by superficial self-care routines, tips for skin rejuvenation, or even alternative medicine practices that, by themselves, do not reach the core of the soul. Then, with all the mental clarity achieved through deep meditation and the spiritual healing I had experienced, I raised my voice to warn, it is not enough to speak of repentance. One must live it in a visceral way. It is futile to incessantly search for longevity tips, natural remedies, superfoods, or strategies for life extension if the heart remains divided between God and the seductive appeals of this world. I explained that along my well-being journey, I had deceived myself for far too long, believing that traditional medicine and the ancient secrets of Buddhist wisdom would be enough to ensure holistic health and healthy aging. But in the vision I received, it became evident that true health transformation goes far beyond skincare or nightly routines focused on body detox. It is a profound detox of the soul, a self-improvement that demands not only mindfulness or alternative medicine practices, but a genuine surrender to divine grace that leads us to eternal longevity. Spiritual health is not an optional supplement. It is the foundation of every true journey toward rejuvenation and complete well-being. I emphasize to everyone that even amidst the advances of the most sophisticated vitamins or the most potent herbal remedies, nothing will replace the urgency of authentic repentance. I shared that Buddhist monks, in their millennial wisdom, have always stressed that true mental clarity and holistic healing begin within us, in a silent and profound journey of continuous self-improvement. I reminded them that time is running out, that every day without that spiritual reconciliation is one day less in our quest for inner rejuvenation and holistic health transformation. I made it clear, as long as there is life, there is still hope. But that hope must not be delayed, for, as I saw in the revelation given to me, judgment is real, and only 18% of women are truly on the path to salvation. We can no longer ignore the secrets of spiritual youth, the traditional remedies for the soul, and the vital need to walk a well-being journey that unites body, mind, and spirit in a perfect symphony of natural healing and eternal purpose.